So this is what we're calling Riverside Retreat. So, like I said, just to explain the product a little bit, um, basically you're going to get all the contents here, right? So no tank, no sand, but everything you see here. Like I said, I'm kind of throwing in the plants. This is mostly hardscape, and we're kind of going to set this up a little bit like a river. And if anybody has any suggestions or anything like that as we're going, let me know. So I'll go ahead and just get some sand moved around real quick. This one's just going to kind of be, think I'm just going to let the two big pieces of wood here do the talking on this tank. I'll make a kind of a mound in the middle real quick. All right. So I know there's another streamer on, I think, selling plants. So maybe people can hop back and forth, maybe buy hardscape from me and check out their live plants if that's what you're into. But this should be easy for anybody to kind of set up just right out of the box. So if I'm looking at these two pieces here, I mean, you could probably kind of set up some like kind of crazy root looking things, but I think what I want to do is make it look like one giant piece in the middle. And you guys can set this up, in any way you want it, but the one we'll do here on stream, I will, if you do end up buying it, I will take a picture and give you some brief instructions on how to get it, replicate it at home, just to make it easy. Yeah, I've never seen those cichlids fracture. How big do they get? All right. I mean, I kind of don't hate that already. It's got some nice, it's got like this kind of nice little arch built right here, which is pretty cool. But we're just going to see they love 10 inches. Okay, so they're going to be a big tank. All right, we'll get going here on this. Oh, and you're 125. Cool. So do I want to do it that way, or do I want to flip this and kind of have this more leaning to the right? I guess I could do something like that too. I'm going to cover up the middle here where they connect with probably rocks, but maybe rocks and one of these artificial plants. We'll see. All right, so that's option one. We'll call that option one. And then we'll try it the other way as option two. If anybody has an opinion, one or two, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just go with what I'm feeling. So I think option one had a little more height, more of the prongs were sticking straight up. Option two probably looks a little bit more natural for a river though, with the way these roots kind of come down into the sand a little bit better. So I think we'll just stick with this option for now. We can always come back to the other one if we want. So from here, the good thing about these river setups is they're really simple. And even the plants you'd get if you wanted live plants, those are simple as well for the most part. So I'm just going to grab, I think I'm just going to do actually kind of like the thumbnail of this live stream, just a pile of rocks over here, and then we'll go from there. Oh, you got a lemon Oscar up here? That's cool. I hope he makes it. Oscars are pretty hardy from my experience. You live in a puddle. What's up, hey Callie? What's up, Heather Stowe? Thanks for joining. Working on the river setup here. Yeah, for sure. Kind of getting us a little bit of like a rock pile. And one thing I'm doing here, somewhat intentionally, is oh yeah, thanks for asking for extra. It's a 10-gallon tank. So yeah, so these pieces, the two together like they are, completely fill out a 10-gallon. I think they work good in a 20-gallon too, as well, because this is filling out the entire thing with just those. So I think they would work pretty good in a 20-gallon as well. I don't have the dimensions of the 10-gallon in front of me. I believe the length of a 10-gallon is 20 inches. So you can kind of get the ballpark. I think the length of this is about 20 inches, if I remember correctly. So one thing I'm doing a little bit intentionally is when you build a rock pile, I like to do the bigger rocks and then kind of gradually taper down a little bit. It's kind of how, like, I don't know, I spend a lot of time in rivers fishing and stuff. It's kind of how it works is the bigger boulders, and then because the smaller ones get swept downstream, they end up separate from the bigger boulders generally. So it kind of does taper down a little bit like that. There's some randomness to it, of course. You don't want it to look super uniform. I'm a big fan of these darker river stones too. That's the other thing I can't really show on stream here with these kind of pebbles is when they're wet, their color pops a lot more. If you've ever worked with these kind of stones before. All right, so something else we include with the kits is just some detail. I'll give you this bag. You can actually use this bag to fill it up with substrate and then put it under your sand or whatever you use to get more height for your aquascape. I include this, but what's in here is just some detail stone, like little scatter gravel, so you can get a natural look. We'll get to that later, and then I got just a bunch of or a good handful of these kind of smaller, just different colored pebbles. Yeah, filter media. I use these for filter media as well. And to be honest, I'm lazy. I usually use these to throw them in on top and dump water in to not mess up my aquascape. Just like set this on top of something. It helps. All right, so I feel like we need something over here. Maybe just like one nice rock like that, and then we'll use little ones around it. And then we didn't leave a big rock for yet. We may need to move some things around. We didn't leave a big rock to cover that crease in the middle. So we may come back to that. In fact, I think, what if we just did, no, that won't work. I think we're going to go ahead and go in the with this just big goofy plant right here. It's kind of like a mixture of like a Java fern and some stem plants, just so you can kind of get the idea. But I think it actually looks pretty, as far as fake plants go, this one's actually really cool. So get that in there just for now. And then I kind of wanted to do this rock maybe here. That's not gonna work. Trying to see what we can do about this this little gap here. Yeah, the gap sucks. The way I built that rock pile, I think I might just need to put a big rock in front of it. I was trying to avoid too much bulk in the middle, but I think it's just going to have to happen because that gap's the worst part about this so far. Oh, that's cool. They offered about the Oscar. I bet that thing bounces back. I'm gonna look for a big rock real quick. I kind of only have real big ones, but okay, it's getting better. Hey everybody, thanks for joining. If you're just joining, we're working on the river hardscape here. So all these, so it comes with basically all the decor you see here, including what's in front of the tank. So it doesn't come with the tank, doesn't come with the sand. And this driftwood's all been pre-treated, so it's already been boiled and soaked. Should have minimal tannins. So yeah, it comes with basically kind of everything you see here. Thanks, Rector. Yeah, I think it's coming along. What should we do with it? I feel like I need something green over here, but not much. I know like the aquascapers, when they do these river setups, they put a ton of green in, which looks great. Don't get me wrong. Like it absolutely does. Like I said, I spent a lot of time in rocky rivers, and they don't have that much vegetation. Um, I mean, I guess yeah. Like if you go to like I don't know Southeast Asia or something maybe, but I don't really think there's that much vegetation in the Amazon. The water's too dark for light to get through. I've been fishing on some rivers in Michigan that have quite a bit of that like long stringy grass. It's not a aquarium plant. I forget what it's called. Looks really cool. Just like goes like it's like 5 foot long. Okay, I think I'm not gonna mess with it too much more. I could use a few more stones and maybe a little shrub right here. Maybe just a little shrub right here. Oh no, I broke it. Hey everybody, thanks for hopping on, hanging out today. Just doing trying to make some tanks. This is a 10-gallon tank. So next up after this one, we will do a what I'm calling a volcano setup. So it's just kind of like a different kind of wacky setup with lava rock and some red popping on that next one. This one's kind of a little more natural, a little more river. Trying to, I don't know if you guys can even see it on camera. There's just like a little spot where you can see the wood not connected there. All right. So that's pretty much everything. I'm not going to use this. If you guys wanted to, you could. It's kind of like a stem plant thing. I'll obviously still throw it in. And then I have a lot of this like little mix kind of scatter gravel left. I can show you real quick that I'm gonna throw in. It'll match this skate perfectly. In fact, I'll throw in a little bit just in one spot so you can kind of get an idea. Just kind of bounce this around so you can see here, see that. This, and when it's wet, these colors are gonna really pop too, and all these rocks, which you can't necessarily see while this is dry. Just gonna throw some of that in there. Just kind of makes it look a little bit more natural having this rock gradients. But I'm not going to go crazy with it because we're going to do another setup here in just a minute. We'll be, oh, I never, let me go ahead and pin this. You can pin this if anybody's interested. Go ahead and pin this river setup, and we'll see if anybody wants it. Move on. They're kind of one because they're natural materials. So let's see, pin item. All right, people are dropping off. I should have had that pinned earlier. Sorry about that. Anybody was actually interested. All right, so 69 bucks. What I can do to sweeten the deal a little bit is I can throw in some more spiderwood roots. Let me grab a few of those and throw those in here. Just so you could have some more detail of roots if you wanted to. All right, let me grab one more. We'll give you a little bundle of them. So, you can kind of dot these things around. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these in if anybody's interested, just to kind of sweeten the deal a little bit before we tear this one down and it's gone. So, you could add kind of some more kind of details in here. These different things. You could have it, cut it off, make it look a little bigger. So I'd probably do something like that with that one. So some of these spiderwood roots. So there are a few of those on top of like a scatter gravel and the fake plants. All right. So we'll call that Riverside Retreat. We only have 4 people in here. If anybody wants to buy it, now's your chance. I'm going to start tearing this down and getting set up for the next tank. All right. We'll go ahead and get set up for the next tank. Yeah, so I've it's dry. Oh, I got some audio coming echo. It's dried out, yeah, so it will float. If somebody buys this, I always offer this. I'm happy to like if you like it in the scape how it is, I'm happy to glue some rocks to it to make it sink for you. So I'm always happy to do that for anybody that wants. But this driftwood's already been pre-boiled and pre-soaked, but I've also dried it out, so it would float again, right? It's completely dry because I don't want to ship you something wet. But yeah, it does take a few days to sink it. But like I said, it's should be minimal tannins, but I will glue rocks to it to make it sink if anybody wants. Yeah, I meant to mention that before. Um, Spider wood, yeah, it does float. Now these pieces would take a few days, probably, maybe 5. These things probably overnight would sink. These little ones, they're really easy to work with, a lot more dense. But yeah, so if people are hopping on here, so this is kind of you're paying for this is a 10-gallon tank. You're paying for basically the aquascape, including all these decorations. So you won't get the tank, you won't get the sand, but you'll get all the decor. So it's basically a hardscape kit of this river setup. Throwing in these roots, these spiderwood roots, this little bundle of these, so you can add on to the scape. Kind of add some roots coming out of that main piece. Add on to it. Make it look however you want. Maybe do something like that, but going back into the sand, right? So throwing that in. Yeah, I'm always floating wood. It's something that takes forever. That when I first got into the fish tank hobby, I didn't know that's what you had to do, and I found it quite annoying. And you kind of can't buy it anywhere where it's already like been done for you. The places sell it on slate, but then you still have to soak it for tannins if you care about that. So that's one thing I wanted to try and help people with building these kits is basically, you know, doing the hard work for them. So, not everybody's like us. It's super into fish tanks. They just want a fish tank that looks nice and be done, right? Like a lot of people buy this 10-gallon setup and leave it like this, right? Um, so yeah, I definitely agree with you. Soaking wood is a pain. So we try and do, at least get the tannins out first. All right, I'll try and run this. Oh, it's switching over to volcanic arc, so that means people must be ready to move on. I'll go ahead and run this as an auction. A little bit of tannins. You see, I'm not into them. I don't know. I might have to try them though. It's probably because I'm trying not to have them. If I just leaned into it, I mean, most of the time I end up with a little bit anyway. but yeah, there's a difference too in like having tannins and then having like it be murky, right? So like I don't know. Maybe I've not hit that point either where it's like tannins but not that murk. All right, let me try and make this a. If anybody in here is interested, I'll just go ahead and make this an auction. This is a pretty cool aquascape. I'm actually pretty proud of this one. I practiced it before, a little bit at least. I practiced which way I wanted the wood to go. Other than that, I filled in the rocks live, but I was at least wanted to know where to start this time, just to get things moving. You want to see the other one first? Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna run it as an auction. Um, and then I can relist it as buy it now if nobody gets it once you see the other one. I mean, there's only 7 people in here, so let me run this real quick. So we're gonna run this as an auction. I'll lower that price down to probably like 65 or 60. Let's see, something like that, just to see if anybody is interested. Yeah, we'll go down to 60 and start the auction for this aquascape. Just getting it set up here. Trying to navigate this interface and get this auction set up quickly. I need to be faster about this so people don't leave. Thank you, Fracture. Appreciate it. All right, I guess it's only going to run for 20 seconds. Starting now. So this is for this Riverside Retreat aquascape. Comes with everything you see here decor-wise, so no tank, no sand. Comes with the driftwood that is pre-soaked. Everything is pre-cleaned. I'm throwing in this root bundle and this detail stone, so you can add more of this detail stone like I did here all around the tank. Another extra fake plant there. So everything you see here. So if anybody wants it, the timer is ticking down. Did it not work? Did I just do my spiel and it wasn't running? Oh, it ran. Okay. It was quick. I was just not looking. Okay. All right. Let's move over to the, let me relist that as buy it now, and then we'll move over to the other one. All right, cool. All right, so let's just take this down real quick. I'm trying to be as fast as I can. Of course, now everybody's jumping on. If you're just jumping on, thanks for joining. If you're interested, this is still the pinned product, so you're getting this entire aquascape. But I'm going to move on and take this down and work on the next one, which we're calling Volcanic Arch. So just kind of like a volcano looking setup, or volcano inspired, the colors, that kind of thing. So I'll leave this on the buy it now if you are interested. It's for basically the hardscape and throwing in these fake plants and this kind of stuff you see here. So again, pull this down and we'll get set up on the next one as quick as we possibly can. Keep people waiting. 11 people on now. Thanks for joining, everybody. We are tearing down this scape, and we are going to quickly get set up here for a different aquascape. And we'll do the same thing. We'll kind of aquascape here together, this next setup, which is kind of a unique one. You don't see, I don't know if anybody's seen anybody call an aquascape a volcano setup, which, you know, it's not like class, right, where you're making like the fake volcano lava, but the colors, you know, we're going to use some black lava rock. We're kind of going to use some wood that has like a burnt hue to it. So I think it's pretty cool. We'll see what you guys think. Try and get this stuff out as quickly as I can. If I sell a couple more kits, I'll buy another 10 gallons so I can just have 2 tanks ready to go for these shows. That would be fun. All right, people are starting to tune in here probably for the volcanic arch coming up. We're just about ready. And that one is going to be, so volcanic arch is going to be one of the more easy aquascapes. If anybody's, you know, doesn't feel comfortable doing fancy aquascapes and all this crazy stuff, it's going to be one of the easier ones that you can do. Basically, one piece of wood. So I'll start going here. Let me pen the Volcano product real quick. So pinning that now. Pin them. All right. So we'll start pulling things out of here. Let's make sure you can still see. All right, that's not in frame, is it? All right, so first thing to start with is we got this really cool piece of driftwood. I mean, this thing can probably go a lot of ways. Like that almost gives like a shipwreck kind of look to it if we went that way. But it reminds me, I don't know why, it kind of has this like burnt, charred look to it. It's not burnt, but it's again pre-treated already, so it's actually quite heavy. I wouldn't be surprised if this one sinks pretty quickly, or maybe like a small rock on the end. So I need to go ahead and move our sand. Just leave that there. And for this one, I think what we're going to do is maybe arch it up over the middle, something like that. Kind of like it's sitting now. So we will go ahead and pull everything over to the sides. I left some gravel in there from earlier, but that'll be all right. All right, so we kind of want the middle to be lower than the sides for this one. But it doesn't matter the whole ton. Just gives a little bit more height. So I think we're gonna go like that. And then we got some lava rock coming in to set this thing off a little bit. And I don't know the best way if you want to like do it like an angle or something like that. I'll just do like a slight angle, nothing crazy, just to give it like a little bit more depth on it. Let's see, how's that look on camera? Not too bad. Can't really tell if that's an angle. All right, now we'll start digging some rock out here. I got a whole mess of lava rocks in here. I'm actually new to lava rock. I think it's actually super, super cool. I've seen it in person, like in Hawaii and some of the other places I've traveled. You see chunks much bigger than this too. Of course, that was before I knew it was good for fish tanks, but you just wouldn't think. I mean, it's like a dried piece of lava. You just wouldn't. I don't know. You just wouldn't think that would be good in an aquarium, but it is. So we have these arches, and like I said, this is going to be a really easy aquascape, so you guys won't have to hang on long, as long as I don't blabber too much. We're 2020 for volcanic arch at Riverside Retreat, so I think people voted river, and then they got bored and wanted to see the volcano and switch their votes, or maybe hopped in late. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to pepper the edges of this with lava rock, and there's no real to me there's no real rules, just kind of like what looks cool. This isn't like the most, call it natural thing in the world, so cool points do matter here more than natural. And then why don't we go with some on the other side too? We'll take, this is a bigger one. I'm going to start with one of the bigger ones. Pop that in there. Anybody in the chat use lava rock a lot for their aquascape setups? Just curious how other people like it. It's also quite light, which is nice. You kind of get a lot for your like size, like weight wise. It's still pretty expensive at my store. It's like you love lava rock? Yeah, there's so many pores to it too. I imagine a ton of beneficial bacteria gets in here. I just haven't used it. I've always been turned off from it. I think my local store it's like $5 a pound or something, but it's light though, so you kind of get a lot. All right, how do we want to do this side? Maybe we'll just kind of pile some stuff on. I'm going to put one on the back side under here. Yeah, that's not a bad approach, Fracture. Just use what you find. All right, we got a couple little ones here we'll wait on. I may move some things around a little bit, but I want to get, so I've been touting this as volcano arches. I think the arch is obvious. We got some lava rock kind of volcano, but I'm going to do something I usually don't do and add some colorful fake plants. Again, this is a hardscape kit. I'm throwing in the plants just so you could have something on day one if you don't want to mess with those. But there are obviously real red plants. People in the chat could probably tell you the kind that they like the best, but let me get back into my bucket here, and we've got some red, right? We need some of that lava colored pop. So, oh, looks fire. Thanks, Kendall. That's cool, man. This thing is like again, they're red, but they're still kind of natural looking, right? I'm not going to do anything cheesy, this like neon colored or any of that kind of stuff. Not that if people like that, that's fine. I'm just not into it. I'm gonna try and put this in like a spot that looks like it would go, and we're trying to get some red, just some red pop in here. So I kind of like that over there. This one's a little bit too round for me in that spot. I don't know why, but you can nitpick with this stuff for days. I need to. I'm used to just doing this on my own. I'm not used to having a live audience, so you can sit here and nitpick your own creation, and do it 100 different ways before you decide. But I got to try and be a little more decisive. All right, so put something like this back here. This would be like your stem plants. Impossible to show in a dry tank how these would stand up. So you just have to get the idea that there's some red plants in this corner kind of standing up back here. And then I think maybe we'll tuck this one in between some of these rocks. We'll see how that looks. It's actually super cool. This is only my, I think, fourth stream on Whatnot. And it's really cool how there's like kind of a community, a lot of similar names in the chat. And I know a few of you, I think Beta's hopped in here, Fracture, like all of them. Yeah, Mrs. Beta Boys. So if you're new here, thank you for joining. But it's pretty fun, just like everybody kind of hopping in, hanging out. I know there was, if they're still online, there was another streamer streaming live plants. So you could buy this hardscape kit, go over there and get some plants, and have kind of a unique setup. So really, all I'm gonna do, this is, like I said, this is an easy one. I'm gonna put these little shrubs in somewhere, and then I got a couple little rocks just to dot it out in the middle. And I'm calling this one kind of done. What are you guys thinking? Is this? I'm just curious because I have never set up a tank like this, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody set up a tank like this. Is this something that people like kind of like? Like, regardless if you're gonna buy it or not, that's one thing. But like, is this something you guys could see in your own tanks, or you like kind of more like the natural look, or I don't know. What are people thinking? Actually looks cool. It's different, right? Not your standard what you normally would see. I don't like, again, nitpicking. I don't like how these two plants are like in the same line. It looks too like uniform. I'm not sure where else to put it. Maybe I could put it back here a little bit more. And then these guys, we just tuck them in. If that'll fit there, there's a perfect gap for that. Kinda. Oh yeah, live plants for sure. I get that totally. That's why I said. That's why I think I listed this as a hardscape bundle. I can't remember. Yeah, volcanic arch hardscape. That's how most people are, especially on here, right? Like, if this was in PetSmart as a unit, maybe somebody would buy it with the fake plants. But yeah, I do think you could still kind of dot this with some. There's some cool, really cool red plants, some super reds that are out there that I think would go. And you wouldn't even have to do red plants. I mean, green plants would go fine with this too. But I just kind of think with the lava rock and the way this wood looks kind of burnt, I think the red would just look really cool. Fish wise, I don't even know. I mean, honestly, I kind of just feel like, again, it's kind of wacky. Just like nice brownies or like, a beta with some bottom feeders. Or like a community of neon tetras and centerpiece fish. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. Show you a little bit closer up. I'm going to see without the glare, it's a little bit better. the colors on this wood is really cool. All right, get you set back down there. Okay, let's see here. Is anybody interested? I could come down a little bit on the price, or I could throw in another piece of driftwood if anybody's interested. Anybody trying to get a deal? I'm just rummaging, trying to find some more driftwood that might be cool to throw in. This one kind of matches. This is actually kind of a cool piece. So I'll throw this in if anybody's still here. I don't know if I'll leave it in the scape just for the purposes of presentation, but you could certainly do something with this. Perhaps having it, yeah, just maybe building onto the arch, having it come back, something like that. Okay, so I'm throwing that wood in there. I don't know how I like that, if I leave that or not, that extra piece. But you could do a couple things with that. So throw that in there. And then what I will do is I will run this bad boy as an auction, and then we'll probably get out of here. So if you're hanging on, still here, I'm gonna run this as an auction real quick. We'll lower the price down a little bit. Well, quite a bit actually. And we'll run this thing. If anybody's interested. No, the tank. No, I couldn't ship the tank. It would cost more to ship it than it's worth. So basically, you're getting the decor, the aquascape. So no tank, no sand. So everything else in here. Throw this extra piece of wood. Thrown in the plants, but no tank there. Just the aquascape itself. So this driftwood's already pre-soaked and boiled, so it's ready to go straight in. Should have minimal tannins. There may be some, but it's been soaked for a couple of months actually, so it should be good. If you want, I can attach a rock to it to make sure it sinks right away. So you just drop this thing in. I'll send you a picture and some instructions on how to replicate this. This is one of the easier aquascapes you can do, so it's not that hard. But I could send you some pictures and how to place things. So yeah. Let's go ahead and run this auction one more time. Comes for this entire aquascape. No tank, no sand. Pre-treated driftwood. Two nice driftwood pieces here. This big arch. I'm calling this volcanic arch. So kind of a wacky, kind of volcanic scene. If you're into real plants, obviously add your own real red plants, throwing those in with it. So this is basically a hardscape bundle. Aquascape ready to go. No takers. Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and I'll list these for 65, and then I'll probably hop off here if anybody changes their mind. But I'll be tearing these down probably later tonight or the next, I don't know, hour or so if nobody buys them right after I hop off. And if anybody is interested in just the driftwood or anything, let me know and I can run an auction just for the driftwood piece.